Hello, my friend. Today, let's wander back through time, through myths, stories, and gentle speculations to explore one of humanity's oldest questions. Where do we come from? It's a question that has kept kings awake at night, inspired poets, and, well, probably caused more than one philosopher to stare at the ceiling wishing for sleep. So let's travel together, slowly, calmly, and maybe with a quiet smile, through the many ways humans have answered this timeless riddle. In some cultures, the answer was simple: God made us just like that. No fine print, no messy instructions. One divine thought, and ta da, humans appeared. In other traditions, it was even grander. Humans weren't just made, they were emanated, like sparks flying from a fire or light radiating from the sun. People imagine themselves as extensions of the divine, little echoes of cosmic energy. And then there's the Brahmanic vision: humans born from Brahma himself. Imagine being told, yes, you are literally part of the Creator. That's one way to raise your self-esteem. Meanwhile, across the mountains in ancient China, another picture was drawn. People believed humans came from the balance of yin and yang, two forces endlessly circling each other. Hot and cold, dark and light, peanut butter and jelly. Well, maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. Human life, in this view, wasn't the gift of a god, but the result of cosmic balance. A kind of universal recipe with just enough yin and just enough yang, simmered together until, voila, a person appeared. Fast forward to today. Science has its own stories. The microscope and the laboratory have replaced the old temples and myths. Now we talk about cells, DNA, and fertilization. Yes, humanity has reached the point where new life can even begin in a petri dish. For ancient storytellers, this would have sounded like pure magic, and maybe it still is. Whether these hypotheses are right or wrong is not the point we settle here. From the standpoint of Buddhism, the Buddha clearly taught all beings, humans included, are born of karma, live within karma, and at death return again to karma. This rests upon the principle of dependent origination. Nothing exists independently by itself. Everything arises only through a web of causes and conditions. That very convergence of causes is what brings forth human life and the life of all beings. A key principle is this: whatever comes into being must manifest some kind of action or movement. Without action, there can be no arising. In other words, conditions only combine through activity. Yet action itself does not contain understanding. Comprehension and intention come from consciousness. And consciousness, whether of animals or humans, is always limited. It can only grasp within a small scope, while the vast beyond remains in ignorance. Thus, even knowledge exists under the shadow of ignorance. What Buddhism calls avijja. Because consciousness is clouded by ignorance, actions, whether wholesome or unwholesome, are seldom seen clearly for what they are. As a result, actions arise randomly, mingling good and bad, and beings experience alternating joy and sorrow, rise and fall. Still, wherever there is action, there inevitably follows cause and effect. Karma? What is karma? Karma simply means action. But in Buddhism, it's more than physical deeds. It includes body, speech, and thought. Every intention plants a seed that ripens into results when conditions are right. Karma is not punishment, but a natural law of cause and effect. Wholesome actions bring happiness. Unwholesome ones bring suffering. In short, human beings are born from karma. All actions originate from three doors of the body: thought, speech, and physical deed. Even thought is a kind of action, for it plants seeds that ripen into results. This cause and effect is what we call karmic force. Humans are born out of karmic energy and ultimately return to karmic energy. If a person acts out of greed, hatred, and delusion, then that same energy draws them back again into greed, hatred, and delusion. So, what are greed, hatred, and delusion? Greed is craving without measure, the restless desire to possess more than is needed. Hatred is the anger and frustration that arise when greed is not satisfied. Delusion is ignorance, the distorted perception of reality and the world around us. Where do these defilements come from? They exist as energetic patterns pervading this world, like the air we breathe or like an unseen magnetic field. Greed, anger, and delusion are streams of energy radiating outward through our actions, thoughts, words, and bodily deeds. In the realm of life, all sentient beings are influenced by these energies. They fill the space around us and they resonate with beings of the same frequency. When the right conditions come together at the proper moment, new life is born, whether animal or human. We may think of karmic energy as a field of attraction. It is not a soul that reincarnates, but rather a force of affinity, yet like a gravitational pull, constantly seeking and linking what is similar, binding them into a new form of life. It works endlessly, like chemical elements combining and breaking apart in nature. This is why throughout Earth's history we have witnessed new species appearing while others fade away. All of this is the result of the karmic law, the interplay of causes and conditions. For example, thousands of years ago, people could not have imagined that without the union of man and woman, a child could not be conceived. Yet under the Buddhist view of dependent origination, a child's birth involves far more than just parents. It requires a network of conditions: desire, physical attraction, sexual union, and finally conception and development in the womb. Today, with the advance of science, we see that researchers can create life in a laboratory without direct union of male and female. They extract sperm and egg stored in cold storage, and under suitable conditions, a child can be born. Yet notice the initial impulse to carry out such procedures still arises from human desire. The craving to explore, to master, to conquer knowledge. And we may suppose that children born under such conditions, when grown, might possess a somewhat different sexual drive than those conceived naturally. This is but one small example of how karmic energy manifests. In conclusion, according to the Buddha's teaching of karma and dependent origination, human beings are not born from a supernatural deity, nor from an immortal soul that transmigrates. Rather, we arise from the ceaseless operation of causes and conditions, from karmic force itself. Karma functions like a vast field of energy pervading all life, drawing together what is alike, shaping new forms of existence. Among them, us human beings. So where do we come from? From gods? From balance? From science? From karma? Perhaps the truest answer is this: we come from our actions. Every choice, every thought, every word is planting the very seeds of what we and the world will become. And maybe the greater mystery is not where we once came from, but where we are going, here and now, with the steps we take today.